Hello, my name is Vikram Dhatrak and today we are going to discuss about the topic that is lines and angles. Now, in day-to-day life, we comes across many different examples where we need the concept of lines and angles. What are that day-to-day examples? Like when we go on the playground, we play different games. Like some of you may play badminton, some of you may play cricket, some of you may play volleyball and many other games. That games are played on the courts and that courts are marked with the segment of lines. Now that's why understanding the concept of lines and angles are very important. Now other examples where these lines and angles concepts are required are for examples, many of you maybe want to become engineer, architects, doctor, then advocates. All these fields require the concepts of lines and angles. For example, architects make a drawing of a building, engineers construct that building, and while constructing and making the drawings, we comes across many different examples where a line and angles concepts are required. So these are some day-to-day examples. For examples, I have this pen. So now when you view this pen is in the horizontal line. This pen can be drawn on the paper with horizontal line. And if another particular element, if I want to draw, which is in this directions, now what these directions which are seen like this can be called as, that can be understood with the concept of lines and angles. Now let's understand what does it mean by line. Now let's assume, what is this? This is called as a point. Now if I take another point at this location, and if I connect these two dots or these 2 points with a segment like this horizontal line, these 2 end points connected by this particular part is called as a line segment. Now if this is a line segment, then what does it mean by line? That we have to understand. So first of all, if 2 points or 2 end points are connected by a segment, that particular element is called as line segment. Now if in another one, if one end point is connected to an arrow, this particular element is called as a ray. So this is a line segment, this is called as a ray. And if 2 arrows are connected by a straight part, this particular element is called as a line. So from this line, if I take the 2 points, these 2 points connected by these 2 particular points, let's say this is A, this is B, this is called as a line segment which I have drawn here. If I take these 2 points B and C, let's assume this point is called as B and this arrow is called as C. This particular part which has 1 arrow and 1 point is called as a ray. So this is the concept of a line. All these 3 concepts, ray, line segment and line, is required to understand what does it mean by angles. So basics of lines will be required to understand the concept of angles. So what does it mean by line? If 2 arrows are connected by a horizontal part, this is called as a line, and on that line, if we consider any 2 points connected by a horizontal segment is called as line segment. And if 1 point and 1 arrow, like point B and point C, and here point A and point B, if it is connected in this way, this is called as a ray. Now hence these are the concept of line, and by using this concept you have to understand what does it mean by angle. Now before going ahead with that concept, we have to understand what is the types of line. Now there are two particular lines are there. If I, for example, let's assume if I draw like this, if this is one line and if this is another line. Now this arrow represents that this line can be increased infinitely towards right hand side, this point can be increased infinitely towards left hand side. That means this does not have any end. If I draw a line like this or segment of line like this, that means this line cannot be increased beyond point A, but this can be increased beyond point B. So this arrow represents that it can be increased beyond point B. Now if two lines, now in this case, if this is line AB, this is line CD. So how these are denoted in generally, if let's assume how these are denoted. So now already we have understood what does it mean by line segment and ray. So this is called as ray. This is denoted by, for example, this is A, this is B, this is denoted, and this is notation of ray AB, and a small ray is drawn above it, and that is the notation or representation of ray. And how line is represented, AB, and a line is drawn above it. But as a general practice, there is no need to write this notation above that particular points, and we can say that line AB is represented by simple, if point A and B representing the ray or line, or point B and C representing the line, then we can called it as line AB, line BC, line CD. Likewise, you can note it or denote it by any alphabets. So what we have to understand now is what is mean by types of lines. So types of lines is, if one line AB and another line CD, if drawn in this way, which if extended beyond point B or beyond point D or beyond point A and beyond point C, it cannot meet each other. These lines are called as parallel lines. Now this arrow, already we have discussed that this arrow is indicating that these lines cannot be extended infinitely towards that particular direction. Now after extending these lines, as we can see from these figures, it cannot, these line A, B and C, D are not meeting each other. They can be extended up to any infinite point or any infinite limit, but they will never meet each other. These particular lines are called as parallel lines. And another type of lines that we have to discuss is called as, one is parallel line and another line is called as an intersecting line. Intersecting lines. Now if two lines are drawn in such a way that, if let's assume this is line A and line B, and if another line is drawn in this manner where this is called as point C and point D, you can denote these points by any alphabets, or it can be denoted by a small letters, like this is CD will be called as L or AB is called as N. This may be the indication of lines. So remember, while denoting the lines, you may indicate by the alphabets or capital alphabets, or in the small letters you can denote it, like CD is called as line L and AB is called as line M. So in this way also you can denote. So don't make confusion between that, you can denote it by any way. So now for understanding of the intersecting lines, if line AB and line CD are drawn in such a way that they meet at one particular point, that is called as point of intersection. So if it happens in the case of any two lines that it intersect at one common point, that particular lines are called as intersecting lines. So earlier we have seen what does it mean by parallel lines, and now we have to discuss what is meant by intersecting lines. So intersecting lines, if two lines are intersecting at one common point, let's assume this is x. So this x is the point of intersection of the two lines, then these two lines are called as intersecting lines. And if two lines are drawn in such a way that if it is extended at any infinite limit, they will never meet each other. And as already we have discussed, these kind of lines are called as parallel lines. So this is the example of parallel line. Let's denote it by line AB, and this is line CD. These will never intersect each other. Intersecting lines are the lines which has one common point of intersections where they intersect each other, and hence that is called as intersecting lines. Now this is about the lines. Now next thing we have to discuss what that is about angles. Now these lines, if it is connected by a different manner, it forms some angles. Now what does it mean by angles? Now for example, if I keep my two hands in this manner, so this particular hand and this particular hands is making some angles with respect to each other. So what is that angle? That we have to find out. Now always in case of designing, or in case of architectural engineering, or in your further study, or in geometry, we need to come across with this concept of angles, and angles plays very important role in our day-to-day life also. For example, this is one line and this is another part or another ray. Let's assume this is AB and this is CD. Now this line AB and ray CD are intersecting at this point, but these two lines are making some angle with each other. The distance, angular distance between two lines is called as angle. So this is the angular distance between these two lines. So how much is that distance? That is measured in the unit degree. Now don't make confusion between degree Celsius. So if you get fever, a doctor measures your temperature, and we call that my temperature is more than 100 degrees Celsius, or 90 degrees Celsius, or 37 degrees Celsius. So that degree Celsius is different, and this degree is the indication or the unit of an angle. So if these ray and this line AB and if this ray CD, it is making some angle with each other. These angles can be denoted by different names. So what that angles are? So for that we have to understand one basic concept. What is that? Let's say this is the starting point of an measuring the angle. For example, I have drawn like this, and let's clear the concept on this line only. So let's assume I have started from this point. So from this point, if I go in anti-clockwise direction, and again if I come to the original point, so from this starting point to the end point, this complete distance is measured in degree, and that complete distance in one complete rotation is equal to 360 degree, right? So this 360 degree angle completed in one rotation, that where starting point and end point meets each other, that complete rotation makes an angle of 360 degree. So before completing 360 degree, there is different angles, and particular two line segments or elements can complete. So that different angles we have to now understand. So what does it mean by angle? It is the distance in degrees between the two lines. Now what are the types of angles? For example, there are different types of angles. For example, if two lines, that is this line AB and line, let's assume this is CD, this makes an angle like this. So this angle, let's assume this is X. So this angle is X, denoted by X. So this X angle is always greater than 0 degree and less than 90 degree. This particular angle is called as acute angle. Now what does it mean by acute angle? angle which is more than 0 degree and less than 90 degree, that is angle denoted by x, is called as acute angle. So this angle which is measured between the two elements or two lines, if it is less than 90 degree and more than 0 degree, where it is the starting point, if we are measuring in anti-clockwise direction, so if this angle is in this form of equation, that is called as an acute angle. Now in second case, what does it mean by another angle? If it is, let's assume in another case this is line AB, and if I draw another ray which is point line CD. Now if it, instead of this angle, if I make a line exactly perpendicular to this line, and in that case this particular angle is equal to 90 degree. So this is called as a right angle, right? So one angle is called as acute angle, which is in between 0 to 90 degree, and let's assume it is denoted by y, and right angle y is always equal to 90 degree. Then third angle is called as, for example, if angle is more than 90 degree, and for example again I have to draw a different two lines, line AB, and if I draw a line like this CD. Now this is the point through which we have to measure the angle from this horizontal line towards this second line. Whatever is the distance covered in angular direction, that distance in degrees is called as the angles. Now if this angle is denoted by, let's say, y, and if this y is less than 180 degree and if it is greater than 90 degree, so already we have discussed 0 to 90 degree is called as an acute angle, and 90 degree is called as right angle, and more than 90 degree and less than 180 degree is called as an obtuse angle. So that we have to remember it. So these are the names of the angles according to its position between the two particular reference elements. So if it is 0 to 90 degree, acute; if it is equal to 90 degree, that is right angle; and if it is more than 90 and less than 180 degree, it is called as an right angle. Now what is another angle? If this is the line, straight line, and if I start from this point to this point, so if these are the two lines, line AC and line BC, if this line CB or BC and line AC makes this particular distance, angular distance, in degrees, that angle is equal to 180 degree, and that is called as and straight angle. That is called as a straight angle. So acute angle, right angle, obtuse angle, and straight angle. So 180 degree angle is called as a straight angle, and if any two lines, if it is making more than 180 degree angle, for example this is AB and this is AD, if the distance between these two segments, that is angular distance, is more than 180 degree, for example if I denote it by M, this angular distance, this M has to be less than 360 degree and it has to be more than 180 degree. If such a case is there, then that angle is called as reflex angle. So this was about the different angles made by the two line segments, or if any two particular parts which are making angles with each other, and that angles according to its position between on the coordinates or between the two lines, that is called as acute angle, right angle, obtuse angle, straight angle, and reflex angle. And these angles plays very important role in different sectors or different fields of an education. And or in day-to-day life also we comes across these angles. So if I throw a ball at a particular distance, that ball is thrown at what angle, that we have to discuss, that also we have to decide. If a clock is rotating in a particular direction, how much distance that clock has covered on a particular time, that is also measured in angles. So these are some examples, live examples, in which we need these concepts of angles. So these concept of lines is important, and after understanding the concept of lines, on the basis of that we can understand the concept of angles, and we can use that in day-to-day life. So for today's session, this was about the lines and angles, and we can also solve now different numericals, different concepts we can understand through this. So thank you very much for patiently listening to this lecture. Thank you.